Bitcoin just pulled in over $500 million in ETF flows in a single day. Meanwhile, gold is catching a bid like it's never seen before. And both of these assets are moving like neutral reserve assets. In a world that is searching for safety, finite commodities are the safe haven. And for Bitcoin, its transition into its money cycle is in full swing. This isn't any regular headline about price. These flows show that institutional investors aren't leaving. They're in fact doubling down on positions as we speak. And for everyday investors, this is one of the clearest signs that Bitcoin is now stepping into a role that we only thought was reserved for gold. That role being the release valve for when global trust starts to break down. In this video, I'll show you why ETF flows matter way more than price candles, why this cycle is still intact despite market volatility, and why the neutral reserve theory isn't just theory. It's happening in real time. Let's get into it. Here's the first clue. The US spot Bitcoin ETFs have just raked in over $500 million, approximately $556 million last Thursday alone. One of the biggest days since its launch. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at roughly $114,000 to $120,000 per coin, all while top investment funds are projecting that Bitcoin could double within the next 12 months alone. That would take price up to around $250,000 per Bitcoin. And when you add in the bid to gold, you begin to realize that money is beginning to find a new home outside of treasury bonds and government debt. Now, do yourself a favor, go to your Bitcoin chart, put it on the weekly, and never take it off the weekly. You do not need to be concerning yourself with daily and intraday price action. We are here for a long time, and we are here to capture the great migration of capital into neutral reserve assets. However, as a trader, I can't help it but identify some key areas using some degree of technical analysis on the Bitcoin weekly chart. And what we can see here is that Bitcoin is currently trading into this bearish fair value gap on the weekly time frame. Fair value gaps are a great way to visualize and determine where markets view premium and discount pricing. So, if the overlying sentiment for Bitcoin was a bearish one, this zone that I've highlighted on the chart would be considered discount to go short. However, now we have an insane amount of positive evidence to support a bullish thesis over the next 12 months for Bitcoin. This area on the chart, we will need to see price trade through it to the upside in order to invalidate it and flip it into a discount area to go long. Now, when we talk about Bitcoin cycles and crypto cycles, everyone kind of misses the big point around Bitcoin and goes straight to altcoins. When is alt season? When is my shitty token going to pump 2,000% and retire me? Well, my friends, the answer is it's coming. It will happen. However, I cannot help but point out poor allocation choices have been made due to the previous alt season manias, and some people, potentially a lot of people, will be caught offside when their random altcoin holdings don't perform as they expected. Talking a few holds, some XRP, maybe some optimism, some Polygon. However, when it comes to allocating in altcoins, usually the top three you cannot go wrong with. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Now for this cycle, Solana has been my biggest bet when it comes to L1s. Why that is? Well, there's a few reasons. One of them, the ETF narrative around it, plus Solana's vibrant community, is a recipe for great price action. On top of that, because cryptocurrencies are payment networks and active users on that network are taken into consideration when it comes to valuing a network, Solana has been absolutely crushing this. You know, we've seen peaks at around 5-6 million active addresses a month on Solana alone. And then of course, payment networks only make money when people are transacting on it. Solana probably has one of the highest monthly transactions for a blockchain right now, which means Solana as a business model is quite profitable, which in turn increases the value of its network. And finally, from a technical side, it's in a very similar position to Bitcoin right now. In fact, it's done what we're expecting Bitcoin to do, and that is trade through a bearish discount zone. It is retracing into it to determine a new discount area for the next bullish leg up. Now guys, this is one of the biggest wealth transfer opportunities to partake in our lifetime, and it's happening right now. And yet people in Canada and the US are still going to their banks, asking them to create them a portfolio, an investment account, and guide their decisions. What's wrong with this? Well, what's wrong with this is banks will put the majority of your money into government bonds. Now, we've made multiple videos on this channel discussing why bonds are one of the worst investments you could be making with your money. But to recap it shortly, you go on Google, type in Fed rate cut September 2025. It's happening today, right now as I film this video. The Fed will cut rates, guys. Meaning the rest of the global central banks now have the green light to do the same. When rates come down, fiat currency begins to weaken. When fiat currency begins to weaken, bonds and treasuries begin to lose. Negative real rates become real, and your portfolios that are given to you by your banks will lose you money real time. Meanwhile, people who listen, who research, who pay attention, have allocated their money into neutral reserve assets and assets that outperform inflation and currency debasement, not in crappy government bonds that are paying you less and less over time. Again, this is the shot of the 10-year, Canadian 10-year. Rates are plummeting, okay? So investors are no longer being fairly compensated on their holdings. They will sell them, and they will put their capital into things like gold, into things like Bitcoin, and into these crypto ETFs. But your bank's not going to tell you that. No, they need you to hold that. It's the saying, if you don't know who the sucker is at the poker table, well, it's you. Guys, there's still time. There's still time to get into position. These next 6 months in the crypto markets are going to be insane. For Bitcoin, for gold, and for crypto in general, the next 6 months are going to be insane. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite altcoin is. Let me know which ones you've picked for this cycle. Hit that thumbs up, and as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to build a channel, help educate you guys and myself at the same time. As always, catch you guys in the next video.